Okay, the day counter went up from 12 to 13, which is why I'm a little confused. I made my way into the halls only to be drawn in by one of the most enticing aromas I'd ever smelt in my life. Following the irresistible pull of the intoxicating scent, I inevitably arrived at the kitchen.
Ah, good morning, sailor.
I was greeted by Beatrix's smiling face as she went about preparing breakfast. So it is morning. She moved about the kitchen so gracefully it was as if this was where she was truly most comfortable. It was a strange sight to say the least, given her infamous resistance to cooking duty. Good morning, Beatrix. Breakfast smells amazing.
Of course it does.
What's for breakfast? I'm not familiar with this particular scent. I made apple and cinnamon muffins. Wow, they sound delicious.
They were my mother's favorite. She taught me how to make them when I was little. Incidentally, they're also Nikolas's favorite.
I can see why. Seriously, I don't think I've ever been so excited to eat something. The aroma is making my stomach ache from anticipation.
Calm down, sailor. Here.
Beatrix handed me a tray of muffins.
Take these into the dining hall. Nikolas and Yoshiki should already be there. I'll grab some ice cream to go with them.
Ice cream for breakfast?
I might die on Sunday. I'm having ice cream for breakfast.
But think about your figure on Monday. I don't think there's ever been a better reason to. With those words, I spun on my heel and headed out to the dining hall with the muffins securely in my hands. Quick, take a bite off each one of them. It was difficult to restrain myself from eating them. The aroma was so close now, so intense. As I arrived at the dining hall, I ran directly into Nikolas.
Oh, sorry. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine, and so are the muffins, thankfully. Nikolas's eyes widened as he looked at the tray of muffins in my hands.
Beatrix made apple and cinnamon muffins?
Yeah, she did.
We usually only have these on special occasions. I wonder what's happened.
We don't need a special occasion, little brother.
Beatrix appeared behind me with the ice cream.
Maybe we should stop waiting for special occasions and enjoy it while we can.
While I don't agree with your pessimistic tone, I'm willing to agree if it means I get to eat apple and cinnamon muffins.
You are such a simple soul, little brother.
Nikolas smiled at Beatrix as he took the ice cream out of her hands and placed it on the table. I put the tray of muffins down next to it. Yoshiki was sitting in a seat, squirming as we all took our seats.
Can I eat yet?
Where are your manners?
Yoshiki looked away sheepishly.
I'm sorry, Nikolas. Beatrix, thank you for making breakfast.
You're welcome. Now, hurry up and eat, or else the muffins won't melt the ice cream.
Yoshiki's eyes lit up as he reached across the table and started serving himself.
What are your plans for today?
I'm not sure yet. I need to speak with Ai at some point about this dye situation, but other than that...
I'm sure all of us would appreciate the company if you got bored.
Thanks, Nikolas. I started helping myself to the muffins and ice cream as the conversation continued. They were hands down one of the best things I'd ever tasted. The warm muffins, now glazed with the melted ice cream, were fluffy on the inside with a hint of cinnamon in every bite. Beatrix was a great cook.
What are you doing today, Nikolas?
I was planning on going out to the farm to get us some fresh vegetables for dinner. I'm sure Katashi is still taking care of the livestock, but I'll double check while I'm there.
I'm pretty sure he is. The sheep all looked well yesterday.
You were at the farm yesterday?
I was just getting apples. I needed some for today's muffins.
What a treat they've been. Thank you, Beatrix.
Yoshiki, what are your plans?
I have to take care of some engineering stuff. You know, metal and wires and stuff.
That sounds fake?
I am the only engineer on board. I think I would know a bit about the metal and wires and stuff.
Isn't Katashi an engineer?
Agricultural engineers don't count. The only reason he's able to grow plants in the first place is because I keep the hydroponic systems running smoothly.
Have I hit a nerve?
No. But seriously, I'm a real engineer with engineer things to do.
Okay, I trust you. Beatrix, what are your plans?
I'm going to the science lab to check on Vladimir's workload and pick up his most pressing tasks where he left off.
That's so thoughtful. We all looked at Beatrix expectantly.
Fine. It was a direct order, but I would have done it anyway.
No sooner had Yoshiki finished scarfing down his breakfast than he excused himself.
I would love to stay and help clean up. But metal and wires and stuff, you know?
With a grin, Yoshiki jumped from his seat and disappeared out the door.
This has been wonderful, Beatrix. I can't think of a better way to start the day.
Thank you, Nikolas. Make sure to pick whatever vegetables you want for dinner and get them to the kitchen between 4 p.m. and 4:30 p.m. so I can have them cooked by 5 p.m. Katashi and I are taking shifts because we aren't allowed in the room at the same time.
Of course.
Thanks, bro. I trust you and your busy schedule can handle the dishes.
I suppose they can. I smiled weakly. I was so entranced by these muffins that there was no way I would deny their creator at this point.
Thank you. Alright, brother. Let's get to work.
Nikolas stacked his plate with Beatrix's before staying and leaving with her. It's your time to shine, hero. Doing the dishes has always been your strong suit. I laughed to myself as I collected the plates and made my way to the kitchen to clean up. Those muffins were so good I couldn't stop smiling. It took me about 10 minutes to clean up, so I headed back to my room to look over more of my notes before dedicating time to help anyone out. I sat on my bed and pulled out the pocket watch. How is this supposed to connect to alternate realities? How is that even possible? I stared at it intensely. There was a clasp button at the top which allowed you to open the watch, but from there it got a bit strange. There was a small button on either side of the clasp button, and 2 sets of second clocks inside the watch. I don't think we could actually see any of that in the picture. That was the third video way back. The one on the left had the number 42 on it. The one on the right was empty and didn't seem to be working. The rest of the watch worked and displayed the current time. The other interesting feature was the LED lights arranged on another section of the watch. Guess I won't know unless I try to press the buttons. Here goes. I pressed the left button. The LED lights on the outside started lighting up one after another and then stopping, making it look like a green ring circling the watch. It did this 3 times, then stopped. Huh. Right button. I choose you. I pressed the right button and hoped for a better response. Bzz, bzz. The watch made a buzzing noise. Aside from that, nothing happened. I tried again. Bzz, bzz. Awesome. I feel like I made so much progress. I sighed as I continued to stare at the watch. How is this supposed to connect? Why did my parents leave more information? Frustrated, I slid the watch back in my pocket. Alright, let's go give someone a hand. So, our choices really are only the twins because we already uncovered Yoshiki's route, so we know that he's out. And I want to say there's more Nikolas fans than Beatrix. Primarily me, so Nikolas first. I wouldn't mind getting my hands dirty. People call me Farmer Hero where I come from. I leapt off the bed and headed out to the farm to do some manual labor. I arrived to find Nikolas kneeling in front of the tomato plants, shears in hand. Hey, Nikolas.
Hello. Am I the lucky one you've chosen to spend your time with?
You won the lottery, good sir.
We'll see.
So, are we having tomatoes for dinner?
I do quite like them. They're such a versatile food. They work cold in salads, but also cooked and accompanying other foods. You can't go wrong with tomatoes. Do you like them?
I'm not 100% sure. Don't remember ever having one.
Here you go then.
Nikolas tossed me a cherry tomato and I caught it awkwardly.
Bon appetit.
Thanks. I placed the whole tomato into my mouth and bit down on it. Under the pressure from my teeth, it split and filled my mouth with tomato innards.
Well, how is it? Are you Team Tomato?
Or are we Team Tomato? As I ate the tomato, I began to choke, struggling to swallow the tomato.
Are you okay?
I meekly responded as I continued to struggle with the tomato. Yeah, I think I am. No sooner had I said this than I began to cough.
You don't look okay.
Huh? Nikolas continued in a delicate tone.
I don't wish to alarm you, but there's something I need to tell you. Please try to remain calm.
How could I remain calm when someone said that? What was wrong with me? I was starting to freak out. What do you mean?
You're having an allergic reaction. Remain calm.
Remain calm?
Tomatoes allergies are actually quite rare, so consider yourself special.
I could feel my face. It was a strange sensation. Why could I feel my face? I could feel my face without touching it, as if I'd only just become aware of the fact that I had a face. I started touching my face with my hands, only realized that they had ballooned in size.
Swelling is completely normal with an allergic reaction. We need to get you to the medical bay immediately before the swelling has time to cut off your airways.
Nikolas spoke to me calmly as if nothing in the world was wrong. How could he be so calm? I nodded back, doing my best to remain calm. Nikolas grabbed me by the wrist and started pulling me quickly out of the eco-lounge towards the medical bay.
You truly are special. No one else on the ship has suffered from a food allergy to date.
My breathing had become slightly raspy, but I could still speak. Yay, lucky me.
Don't force yourself to talk. Just try to relax your face and mouth as best you can.
We moved so quickly to the medical bay that it was almost hard to keep up with Nikolas's pace, but the strange tingling sensation in my face made the trip feel a lot longer.
Alright, up on the bed while I get the epinephrine. This will relax your muscles and constrict your blood vessels, which in turn will relieve the swelling in your face and throat.
Get it, EpiPen? As I took a seat on the hospital bed, I noticed my breathing was becoming more labored. Felt like someone was sitting on my throat.
Shh, it's okay. I know you can't breathe. Remain calm.
Sure, it was easy for Nikolas to remain calm. He could actually breathe. Nikolas moved swiftly across the medical bay, and before I could react, injected something into my upper thigh.
There we go. Now try really hard to breathe slowly and calmly.
Nikolas placed a reassuring hand on my shoulder and started stimulating slow breathing. I tried my best to mimic his behavior.
Okay, you seem to be doing better already. The swelling should go down shortly, but you'll probably feel a bit off for the rest of the day.
I was starting to feel better already. Thanks, Nikolas.
Please, it is my job after all. No thanks required. If anything, I should be apologizing. My dear tomatoes almost killed you.
You monster. They tried.
They gave it a good shot. So, I know today didn't go according to plan, but thank you for your help.
It was my pleasure. Sorry we didn't manage to get all the vegetables we needed.
It's fine, really.
Do you mind if I pick your brain for a second?
Of course not. How can I be of assistance?
I pulled the mysterious watch out of my pocket and handed it over to Nikolas. I found this with some of my parents' work.
This is interesting.
Nikolas carefully examined the pocket watch, turning it over and raising his eyebrows. According to their research notes, this device should allow us to connect to alternate realities in which this device exists. I think my parents are trying to find resources in alternate realities.
Well, you can't fault them for not thinking outside the box.
Here. I extended my hand towards Nikolas as he handed me the pocket watch. I showed him the buttons on either side of the clasp. The left one caused green lights to revolve around the dial for 3 cycles, and the other one on the right just made noise. So, what do you think these green LED lights mean?
I am not sure, but it kind of reminds me of when something is loading, like on the computer.
So we may only need to wait, is what you're saying. Really?
Like when something is loading and the cursor spins.
Oh yeah, I see what you mean.
Sorry, I know I'm not being much help here.
No, you've been plenty of help. A fresh set of eyes is always helpful.
You were too kind. Alright, well, I'm going to make another attempt at gathering vegetables. Would you like to join me?
I think I'll go see if I can make some progress on this pocket watch issue.
Of course. I'll see you at dinner then.
Okay, see you then. I exited the medical bay and headed to my quarters where I had stored most of my parents' papers. I sat on the bed with the papers and tablets sprawled all over the bed. Nothing. Still nothing. This is so frustrating. Okay, I need to calm down. Getting angry isn't going to solve anything. I threw myself back on the bed and stared at the ceiling for a long time before I was suddenly bathed in the warm glow of Ai's holographic interface.
I am sorry to interrupt.
Don't worry about it, Ai. You weren't interrupting anything. What's up?
I found some more information that may be useful against dye.
That's wonderful. What is it?
I've discovered that it's possible to input the deactivation code into any terminal, including your personal tablets.
Do you know anything else about the deactivation code? Ai shook her head.
Unfortunately, I didn't learn anything else. I tried to access more information, but even with my administrator privileges, I was unable to proceed any further.
Well, at least we know where we can input the code once we know what it is.
I am glad you are pleased.
It isn't perfect, but it's a step in the right direction.
I must return to my duties.
Of course. Thanks for the update, Ai. I bowed and phased out of my quarters. Deactivation from any tablet or terminal, huh? At least now I knew that I wouldn't need a higher clearance level. I'm probably going to have to dig up some information on Yumu if I wanted to work out this code. There was no help for it now, though. The captain was on the other team, off limits for the duration of this round. I returned my attention to the watch. Come on, hero. Pull yourself together. You need to work this out. I sifted through my parents' papers and tablets to see if I had missed anything. I slept uneasily that night, keenly aware that I couldn't afford to miss breakfast. After hours of tossing and turning, I rolled over in bed and glanced at the clock on my bedside table. 5 a.m., huh? Although breakfast wouldn't be served until around 7 a.m., I wasn't about to risk going back to sleep. I should get up and go offer Beatrix some help, or maybe Nikolas. I made my way to the medical bay. When I entered, I found Nikolas sitting at his desk, staring intently at the screen. Hello, Nikolas.
Oh, I wasn't expecting any visitors. Is there something I can help you with? Did you come down with something?
Nothing like that. I just thought I'd stop by and see what you're up to.
I'm just checking to see if all of our medical systems are online and fully functional. Having a computer-operated surgical bay is great, but its maintenance still requires a doctor's watchful eye.
That makes sense. Nikolas swiveled in his chair to face me, glasses poised on his lower lip, head cocked slightly to the left.
Have you received any medical training?
Me? Nikolas raised a playful eyebrow in my direction. Can't say I have. I can apply bandages to cuts, but that's about it. Nikolas pretended to look impressed.
Bandages, huh? That settles it. I'm going to be calling on you next time I need medical attention.
For your sake, I hope it's nothing serious.
Agreed. I understand that we have 2 trained doctors on board, but given Dai's absurd restrictions this round, we're unable to treat half of the crew.
Nikolas continued to look at me with intention. Moments passed, and the room remained quiet. I'm not sure I understand what you want me to do.
Would you like to learn basic first aid?
Are you sure I won't be a liability?
There's no harm in having more crew members with first aid training.
Guess I never even thought to learn how.
Well, there's no time like the present.
Nikolas's suggestion seemed a sensible one. All right, count me in. Nikolas's expression brightened my enthusiastic response.
Great. Let's see now. You said you know how to apply bandages, so let's start with a scenario involving blood loss.
You have my undivided attention, Doctor.
That's exactly what I want to hear.
Nikolas signaled for me to sit on the bed as he began his explanation.
If a patient is bleeding and conscious, the good news is that they are still alive.
I'm not so sure about that one. I'm just looking at the people we elect. Heyo! Nikolas smiled before moving on.
Now, your first priority should be to stop the bleeding.
Got it. Stop the bleeding.
If one of the patient's limbs is bleeding profusely, you should apply a tourniquet between the heart and the wound to staunch the flow of blood. For instance, if the cut is on the patient's forearm, you should place the tourniquet on their upper arm.
So, real quick, notice the word profusely. You have a lot of idiots who think that if there's some sort of like minor scrape or something that they need to put a tourniquet on it, and that it can go really, really wrong, especially when they're too dumb to actually know how to properly use it. Sad part is the recipient could end up losing a limb.
In your case, your tie would work perfectly as a makeshift tourniquet.
Nikolas gently removed my tie from around my neck before applying the tourniquet to my arm as an example.
Make sure you don't make it too tight. It needs to restrict blood flow, but it shouldn't cut or damage the skin further up the arm.
Okay, tourniquet, not too hard.
Our next order of business is applying pressure directly to the wound in order to stop the bleeding. Blood clotting isn't instantaneous, so it may take some time to get the bleeding under control.
Once again, Nikolas demonstrated on me placing pressure on my arm using both hands.
Here comes the most important part.
Not dying? Nikolas cast a disapproving look in my direction.
Focus. This part is important. We need to prevent the patient from going into shock. Shock, particularly from blood loss, is called hypovolemic shock.
Okay, shock.
When it comes to dealing with shock, the most important thing is to keep the patient comfortable. Reassure them that everything is going to be okay.
Reassure. Nikolas placed his hand on my shoulder and looked me in the eyes.
Everything is going to be okay. There is nothing to worry about. We'll take good care of you here.
We already have the coffin picked out. I fell still. Nikolas's words seemed to lull me into a comforting trance. Everything was going to be alright. Impressive. Seeing the rumors about his impeccable bedside manner hadn't been exaggerations.
Now you try.
Try what?
Reassuring me.
Yes, of course. I cleared my throat and took a crack at it. Everything's gonna be A-okay, I've got this under control.
I'm not quite convinced yet, but I'm sure you'll get better at it over time.
I'll be sure to practice.
I hope so. I'll be testing you on it.
With a gentle smile, Nikolas removed the pressure from my arm and loosened the tourniquet. My arm felt a bit numb after being tied up for so long.
Alright, what would you like to learn next? Your choice.
Bone saw. Aw, man. This is the one that I think might actually be important. And for the third one, I'm not bathing anyone. How do I check vitals?
That is an excellent question.
I smiled proudly from my vantage point on the hospital bed.
When we perform routine checkups or admit a new patient, there are 4 vital signs that we usually check. Body temperature, pulse rate, respiration rate, and blood pressure. Blood pressure isn't as important as the other 3, but we usually test it anyway.
So far, so good?
To check someone's body temperature, you'll need a thermometer. If there isn't one available, you can place your hand on the patient's forehead to see if you feel a temperature difference.
Nikolas gently brushed my hair to one side before placing his hand against my forehead. It was warm but firm. Keep in mind, hands are usually colder because they're further away from the core of the body.
You feel normal. So far, so good.
Yeah, that's a bit of an inconsistency of sorts.
Pulse rate is determined by placing 2 fingers, other than your thumb, against the arteries in the patient's wrist. Alternatively, you can cheat and use a stethoscope.
You can check multiple places, not just the wrist. Nikolas is unfastened. Yeah, it should just be Nikolas. Unfastened the top onto my shirt and opened the top. He picked up the end of his stethoscope before exhaling on it. Uh-oh, that could give us coronavirus. He slid the stethoscope under the open collar of my shirt, placing it against my chest. Nikolas listened to my heartbeat for a few moments. I tried to remain as still as possible as he went about his work. What is it? Something wrong?
Sounds like your heart just skipped a beat.
Uh-oh, he's on to us. Nikolas smirked at me. Huh?
It's a joke.
Right, I knew that.
Finally, respiration rate is simply how many breaths the patient is taking per minute, which is easy to observe. People should complete about 12 to 16 breaths per minute.
Trying to remember, that could be right. Because the heart should have about 60 beats per minute. It slows down when sleeping, same for the breathing rate. And then if the person has apnea, then it's just a mess. Okay, 12 to 16.
As I mentioned earlier, blood pressure isn't as important, so we'll leave that for a later time.
Ironically, blood pressure is the one thing I actually don't know.
Okay, pop quiz.
Huh?
What do you do once you have a patient's blood loss under control?
Call the coroner. Let's try this one. I looked Nikolas dead in the eyes and placed my hand on the side of his face. Don't worry. Everything is going to be okay. We'll take good care of you.
That was much more believable than last time. Well done.
I learned from the best.
That you did. I believe Beatrix is taking the night off cooking. So help yourself to some fruit or anything else you can muster up for dinner.
She's been working hard to feed us these past few days, even though she said she wasn't.
Beatrix says she hates it. But I'm pretty sure she enjoys caring for everyone.
You think so?
Yes, I really do.
Well, I'm gonna go grab some snacks before turning in for the evening.
Of course. I'll see you tomorrow morning at breakfast then?
Trust me, I don't plan to miss another one of Beatrix's meals. If Beatrix requests my presence at dinner after my execution, I'll be in the dining hall that evening, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, even if I have to drag myself out of hell.
I'm sure she'd be happy to hear that.
I excused myself from the medical bay and headed to the kitchen to stock up on snacks, my mind brimming with new medical knowledge. When I arrived at the kitchen, I could clearly see that the other crew members had already been through here to grab something to eat. Shouldn't need too much. I'm quite tired and won't be up long. Grab myself a banana and a slice of whatever cake was in the fridge and head back to my quarters. I sat before my coffee table, banana and cake to my left, papers and tablet open on the right, displaying the details on the pocket watch I compiled thus far. I wolfed down the banana and sliced a sponge cake as I worked. Looked over the papers again and again, hoping to find some new revelation. Resting my head against the coffee table for a few moments, I finally drifted off to sleep.